I am from Waverly, um, moved away for about 40 years and moved back again to be near my mom, who is 94 and a half. My mom was very worried. She didn't have any children yet, and they weren't married until right before he went overseas. And he was gone for 3 years, and all they had was letters back and forth, and sometimes you wouldn't get any letters for several days, and then you might get them out of order, and uh, there would be editing done on them. They couldn't say certain things where they were and everything, so it was a hard time for her. Um, I was concerned, but I didn't know it would be Vietnam at first. And he had gone to Hawkeye Tech, it was called then, and was working at the Waterloo Waterworks. And so his number wasn't coming up until after he got done with 2 years of school. And so it was hard to say goodbye to him, but I really thought that he would be coming back home. I didn't realize the area he was being sent to was very far north, and he was driving a tank and doing search and destroy missions. They didn't tell us all that. They were ambushed by Viet Cong forces, and their tank was destroyed. So he was killed probably instantly. I didn't know as much about I do know some of how he was treated, and many other veterans because I worked with veterans. It was sad because they were not choosing to be in war. Some of them, even if they were, they didn't understand the situation back home. They weren't aware that people were against the soldiers, not just the war that the government had started, but that they were going to treat the soldiers terribly. He was very controlling. He was very edgy in situations where there were a lot of people. He wanted to sit where he could see the door and be aware of his surroundings. He developed severe mental illness, and I know now that part of it was post-traumatic stress, but part of it was bipolar disorder. So we went through some very rough years with that. My husband died of Agent Orange-related lung cancer. I think my faith is the center of my being, and my faith has been there for me through everything. I think you have a choice when bad things happen of turning towards God and embracing that unconditional love and knowing Christ's sacrifices, or turning away from God and being bitter and angry, and I chose to turn towards God. I worked for about 8 years for the county doing Veterans Affairs. And I had been a case manager for people with disabilities, and then I started the Veterans program was about 2 hours a week, and it grew to 2 full-time people while I was there because there was such a need for veterans services in Waverly. And a lot of what you do are in Bremer County. A lot of what we do was getting their benefits that they're entitled to and getting all the paperwork done, but also connecting them with services in the community and just being a support for them. And I went to my first classes in about 1993 when my husband was having severe mental illness. And they have a class called Family to Family that I was able to go to several years later. It just helps families to understand what the person with mental illness went through, what the diagnosis is, what the meds are like, what the side effects are like, and how to be there and support them through it. Then, working with veterans, they started a NAMI Veterans Council, Military and Veterans Council, and I was asked to be on that at the national level. I guess that I cared about people, that my faith is strong, that I used my hands to do God's work here on earth.